the Caribbean is second to sub-Saharan Africa in terms of the incidence of HIV. And in Barbados in particular, we have incidence rates around 1.75% of the population. Young people tend to be vulnerable because they're sexually active from a young age. We find that young people 10, 11, 12 are indicating that they've had their first sexual encounter. And so at this point in time, it's the leading killer in between the 15 to 49 age group.
Today we met Fabian, and his dad actually died of HIV and AIDS.
Basically, my dad would have contracted the virus. I think he did somewhere in the 90s, I'm not exactly sure when, but we would have lost him to the disease in the year 2000. It was, a very, very difficult time for the family. Everything that HIV/AIDS tackles today, stigma, discrimination, condomization, getting tested, I had first-hand experience as a little boy, a teenager, going through all those things. I don't know why it was, but I was home and he was this guy that he used to be relatively abusive. He would beat up on my mom and he would beat up on me and my sister. And one day he slapped at me and I ducked. And when I ducked, his hand hit the window and the window broke. So when the window broke, his hand started to bleed. And he shouted at me, he's like, move around here, move around here. And I found it to be very strange that, his hand started to bleed, he shouted at me. And then like a few days later, my mom told me that she found out that he has the virus, and then we went and we got tested just to be sure, that we were okay, and we were, and that type of stuff. And that's how I found out. So yeah, that was relatively shocking. Part of me, to be honest, I felt kind of glad that he was sick because he wasn't a very good dad, so it was like kind of getting about my revenge, know that he's sick. But then, even though that was the personal experience I had, I didn't want people to tease me about my dad. I can talk about him, I can talk about how bad he was to me, but nobody could say that he was a bad dad to me. But that's what people would do. People would come around and they would say, you're never going to be any good, you're going to be just like your father, you can't learn anything. And I had to go home, deal with the situation I had to deal with at home, come school, I hardly used to get any homework done because I couldn't concentrate and that type of stuff. And somehow, with the grace of God, I was still able to learn very well, to excel in school. I guess after a while, you pretty much know he's going to die. You expected he got very, very sick. He was in hospital for a while and his health really started to deteriorate. So everyone expected that, he was going to die. So we kind of all just prepared for it, and that was it. There are people that I know that would have had, parents or friends or cousins who went through the same thing, and they don't want to talk about it because it's something that makes them feel ashamed. They don't want to let people know that they're associated or affiliated with anyone who, has the virus. I think the focus now needs to be more on channeling our activities into something that creates a behavior change, so that people just doesn't have the information, but they take the information and do something with it.